Welcome back to Inside Franklin Athletics. This is our first spring edition of the year. We have guest Collin Webb of the track team on with us. I'm here with my co-host, Nick Wilson. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great today, Jake.
And thanks so much for being on here, Collin. And Collin does quite a few different events in track. Can you list them all off for us?
Yeah, so I'm more of like a sprinter and a jumper. So I'm usually doing long jump, high jump, 400, 4x4, 4x1, 200.
Just basically everything.
Anything under the 800 that I'm doing.
That's
Maybe I'll run an 800 this year. We'll see.
So what's the physical toll like at the end of the meet? Are you just exhausted?
Yeah. So into the meet, it was 4x4 just this last week. Like me and Greg were walking to the bus. We were the last people out going there, and we just had to stop. We just had to stop in the middle. We had to take a squat for a couple minutes and take a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear about how just the 400 is just terrible to run, and I see those videos get posted on people's stories. Like my mindset during a 400, it's like, I can do this. Oh my God, this is terrible. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like I'm dying, just that kind of stuff as they're running through the 400. So it's definitely not an easy race to run.
It's definitely it's probably one of the hardest things you can do in a sport. One of them.
Oh, for sure. So with your 4x4 team, obviously you guys were pretty good last year. How are you looking to improve that this year? Maybe be a state qualifying 4x4 team, maybe breaking that record?
Yeah, so we've got a pretty good team. We've lost two guys that we were hoping we were going to have this year that were going to be on the 4x4. But sophomore J.D. Seaver is a stud. He's improved a lot. He's going to be really good this year. And sneaky pole vaulter that's starting to run the 400 that has some promise is Bryson Nixon.
Oh, okay.
That dude is an animal. That dude is built like a stud. I don't know what he's doing, what he's taking. It's nothing. On record, it's nothing. But he just ran his first 400. He's good.
I will say he trained for it before season because every single day in co-ed, the entire period, he did laps around the entire field house.
That dude's a worker. Yeah.
I can definitely tell. So being in the senior role this year, what's that like kind of stepping up and taking leadership of the team? Obviously, there weren't a lot of seniors last year, so some of that leadership was placed on your shoulders as a junior, but how are you kind of one of the sole leaders this year along with maybe Greg Houston and some of those other guys?
Yeah, so it's a lot of the keeping things in check is kind of me, actually, because the freshmen don't really like me, but you know what? That's just how it is as a senior. Sometimes they kind of need to be put in check sometimes with keeping in practice, but some of the other seniors are just also doing the same things, making sure people are doing the right things.
Definitely, just having that accountability. That's the most important thing. It's really in any sport. A lot of times, maybe the underclassmen aren't always going to like the upperclassmen because of that. But when there's an underclassman that's not necessarily doing what he's supposed to be doing, messing around, bringing the rest of the team down, it's got to be put in check. So
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like as a freshman, you just don't really want to be led. You just want to go in there and just do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the freshmen are kind of not really used to the high school environment, so they're still kind of getting used to it.
Yeah, they're a year off of middle school, and
yeah,
you don't have all of that accountability in middle school, so that makes sense.
Right.
So looking into this year individually, what are your goals for the year?
So my goals as a long jumper specifically, because that's kind of what I like to do and what I'm best at. Going to state, hopefully. I'd have to jump 22. I jumped like 20 foot 6 a couple weeks ago indoors, which is pretty solid. So 22 is kind of that mark that I need to hit before I'm going to go to outdoor state. Maybe qualify for indoor state here in a couple weeks. And then maybe I'm shooting for that record at 22.7.5.
So when does this indoor state change to outdoor state? Or indoor meets completely shift to the outdoor meet? Is there a full-on indoor season before the outdoor season even starts?
Yeah, there usually is. Our high school isn't very into it, but we go to a couple meets every year, and it's a good way to get a lot of guys out there and try and get some experience under their belts, especially some of the freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between an outdoor and indoor meet?
So an indoor meet, a lot of the tracks are 200 meters. All of the tracks are indoor 200 meters. And a lot of it, like at UND, they have like the bubble, and they have a track that's like a 6-lane track or something. So it's only 200 meters. So there's 2 extra turns for a 400, which makes the 400 times a little slower. And everything in there is just, all the times are going to be a little bit slower, and the jumps are going to be a little bit less than what they would be outdoor because you're getting less training before.
So do they run a 100-meter dash in that because there's turns?
No, they don't run 100. They run a 60. So it's
okay.
the straightaway on a 200 track.
Okay, I got you. So looking at the rest of our events, our distance team looking to be competitive. Obviously, you ran cross country, so you were mixed in with that somewhat, especially over in the fall. And then our throwers team looking to be better. So how's all that like shaping out for this year?
Our distance team is a little bit younger. It's a little bit thinner than it has been in recent years, but I mean, there's still some absolute studs on there, like Ty Murphy and Jared State and Zion. There are a few younger guys, like Ari Smith is going to be pretty solid. Edgar's a freshman. He's going to be pretty solid. There are a lot of just stud dudes that are ready to go and will be ready to go for the next couple of years. Throwers, we got Jake Houston now, and Jake Houston is just a stud all around. Everybody knows that.
Definitely.
He's a pretty good. I'm not sure if I think he throws disc, but Cambridge is always a beast. Cambridge actually might sneak into a relay here and there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Looking to maybe
on the down low.
So, other than Jake Houston, like you mentioned, what other, I guess, newcomers do you think are vital to your guys' success?
To be honest, we don't have a lot of newcomers. It's still not too late if anybody else wants to come out to track. But, I mean, Jake Houston's been a stud. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I think, Ashiel, the exchange student, he came out and ran in sprints. He's going to be really fast. As long as he keeps coming, he's going to be really, really fast. So I hope he keeps with it.
So how has this year, being the first year that Coach Hall hasn't necessarily been our track coach, how's that transition occurred? Has it been smooth? And since Coach Lane is now both the boys and the girls coach, has there been a little bit more transparency between the two? Have you guys worked together a little bit more?
Yeah. So we still keep sprints separate and distant teams separate. So Coach Kowalczyk is now the boys sprints instead of just the girls sprints. His system is completely different than Coach Hall's, but it's been a really smooth transition to it, and I think a lot of the guys actually like it more, even though they won't really admit it. I think it's working really well because we've got some really fast dudes. But Coach Lane has done a really good job of being there for every group. I think every day he's at least watching some of the practice of every single group, at least 5 minutes or so.
That's good.
But all the specialized events, we do them together now.
Good.
So like long jump, like me, Haley Stewart, Quinn Richards, and Ava Linke. And I think
Okay.
Kathleen Lacey might be trying some of that. But like all of us will practice together, and all of the high jumpers will practice together.
So, yeah, that was something I always noticed in years past was you go to a meet and you'd see Whiteland does their cool down and their warm-ups together. They circle up, boys and girls. You see it same from everybody else. And then we're always very separate between the guys and the girls. So that was something I was hoping Coach Lane would bring in, having the program kind of combine.
Yeah, it's being a little bit more of a co-ed team.
Yeah.
We still don't really stretch together at the end, but just because everybody's doing a different events at different times. But it's definitely a lot more unified than it has been, and I think it's working towards that.
That's good.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Coach Lane one of the middle school coaches before this?
No, Coach Lane was the head girls track coach before this year, at least. I don't think he was a middle school coach. If it was a while ago. Not when we were there, at least.
Yeah, not that I recall.
Okay.
He was a teacher at CBIS.
Yeah.
Let's see. Over at the middle school, it was
Schwartz.
Schmidtberger, and before that, it was
Schwartz. No?
it was
Schwartz.
who was the other
Mullins.
Yeah, Mullins. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yep. So personally, after high school, do you have any plans for maybe running track in college somewhere?
Yeah, so I am kind of in the midst of trying to make a decision of where I'm going to go. I might go out to Rose Holman out in Terre Haute. I love the track coach. He's a really nice guy. Beautiful track. It's a beautiful area. It's a great school. Might go to IUPUI. If I do that, then I'd have to start running the 400 really, really fast if I want to run track there. But I think those are my two decisions right now.
That's good to hear. Both good schools, be good choices. So looking at this season, again, last year was a promising year. We showed a lot of promise, but we were definitely a younger team. You said it yourself, we didn't lose a whole lot. We gained a few people like a Jake Houston, something like that. Where can this team be better so that we can perform in conference better, maybe take home a conference championship this year?
I think our sprint group, kind of the group I'm part of, maybe shows a little bit of bias, but I don't really think so. We have some absolutely really quick guys, and we have a lot of them. So like Ashton Freeze is that dude. He's going to run really, really fast. Miles is really fast. Aiden Jeffrey's really fast. Greg's obviously an animal. We have a whole bunch of guys that are going to be really, really good in our sprint group, and I think we're going to take home a lot of points in that area, which is going to put us right up there with Whiteland and CG.
Awesome.
You and I know this is a long way away, but how does your postseason work? Does it work like swimming where you can go individually, or is it just all team?
Yeah, so you do go individually, but there's still a team point total at the end. So if we send, let's say we send a couple relays and a couple individuals to regionals, everybody that didn't make it, you don't go. If you don't make it in your event, you don't go. But the guys that do make it in their event, if they place top 3, or if it's top 8. So if you place top 8, then you score points for your team, and those team points are added at the end.
And the way that track works, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is if you aren't a certain like top 3 or 2 for state, you can still hit a minimum time and qualify, correct?
Yeah, kind of. So whenever it's regionals, because it goes to regionals to state, there's no semi-state, it's top 3 in every regional go, and then after every regional, it's the next 3 best in the state.
Okay.
So like long jump, if there's 3 guys, because our regional is really, really good. So like 3 regional long jumpers will go, the top 3, and then the next 3 best in the state, which actually I think we sent 2 from our regional, went on that last year. But we'll send an extra 3 on top of all the regionals.
Okay, that makes sense. Nick, do you have any other questions for Collin?
I don't have anything that I can think of right now.
Well, thank you so much for being on here with us. Obviously, we wish you good luck
Yep.
in this coming season. This
Thank
has
you.
been Inside Franklin Athletics Spring Edition.